राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जयो राधा वृंदावन चंद्र श्री राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस AC भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की, श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की, ब्रह्म मध्व गौड़ीय संप्रदाय आचार्य गुरुवर की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
हरे कृष्णा। आज हमारा बड़ा परम सौभाग्य है कि हमारे बीच में उपस्थित हैं श्रीमान सच्चिदानंद प्रभु। इनका अल्प में परिचय इस प्रकार से है। प्रभु जी नित्यलीला प्रविष्ट हिज होलीनेस भक्ति चारू स्वामी महाराज के एक शिष्य हैं, वरिष्ठ शिष्य हैं। वो इस्कॉन से 33 साल से भी अधिक वो जुड़े हुए हैं। उनकी विशेषता कीर्तन, भजन, प्रवचन और भगवद्गीता, वैष्णव भजन, श्रीमद् भागवतम, गौड़ीय वैष्णव की जो शिक्षा है उनके ऊपर सेमिनार देने पे है। और उनको बहुत सारे जगह पे बुलाया जाता है आध्यात्मिक विषयों के ऊपर चर्चा करने के लिए, और वो इसी कारण से प्रचार करने के लिए पूरे संसार भर में भ्रमण करते हैं। जैसे कि वो इंडिया, कनाडा, USA, रशिया, स्वीडन, बेल्जियम, फ्रांस, नेदरलैंड्स, जर्मनी, स्विट्ज़रलैंड एंड मेक्सिको, ये सब स्थानों पे वो जाकर भ्रमण करते हुए प्रचार करते हैं, सेमिनार्स देते हैं। और उन्होंने भक्तिवेदांत भागवत ग्रुप, भागवत वाणी और इस्कॉन, इनके सेवा करते हैं वो। और परम हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील प्रभुपाद के सेवा में पूरी तरह से जुड़े हुए, प्रभुपाद की ही शिक्षाएं, उनके गुण को पूरे संसार में प्रचार प्रसार में लगे, वो प्रचार प्रसार कर रहे हैं। तो आइए प्रभु जी का, सच्चिदानंद प्रभु का हम श्री श्री राधा वृंदावन चंद्र मंदिर में स्वागत करते हैं। एक बार हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र का गान करके, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. So today we will be serving Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam in chronological order, canto number 6, chapter 16, and the verse number 10. It is displayed on the board as well. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayaudirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी शृण्वन्ता स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनम् हृदि अंतस्थ भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सता। न हि अस्यास्ति प्रिय कश्चिन् न प्रियः स्वपरोऽपि वा। एकः सर्वधियां दृष्टा कर्तॄणां गुणदोषयः। नाहि अस्यस्ति प्रियः कश्चिन् न प्रियः स्वपरोऽपि वा। एकः सर्वधियां दृष्टा कर्तॄणां गुणदोषया। नाहि अस्यास्ति प्रियः कश्चिन् न प्रियः स्वपरोऽपि वा। एकः सर्वधियां दृष्टा कर्तॄणां गुणदोषया। न प्रिया स्वपरोऽपि वा। एकः सर्वधियां दृष्टा कर्तॄणां गुणदोषयो। कर्तॄणां गुणदोषय। माताजी नाहि अस्यास्ति प्रियः कश्चिन् न प्रियः स्वपरोऽपि वा। एकः सर्वं धियां दृष्टा कर्तॄणां गुणदोषया। Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ji ki. Kindly repeat. No. not. He, indeed, asya, to the living entity, asti, there is, priyaha, dear, kaschit, someone, na, not, apriyaha, not dear, swaha, own, paraha, other, api, also, va, or, ekaha, the one, sarvadhyam, of the varieties of intelligence, drashta, the seer, kartrinam, of the performers, guna doshaha, guna doshaha, of right and wrong activities. Translation: for this living entity, no one is dear, nor is anyone unfavorable. He makes no distinction between that which is his own and that which belongs to anyone else. He is one without a second. In other words, he is not affected by friends and enemies, well-wishers or mischief mongers. He is only an observer, a witness of the different qualities of men. Purport: as explained in the previous verse, the living entity has the same qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he has them in minute quantities because he is a small particle, sukshma, whereas the Supreme Lord is all-pervading and great. For the Supreme Lord, there are no friends, enemies, or relatives, for he is completely free from all disqualifications of ignorance that characterize the conditioned souls. On the other hand, he is extremely kind and favorable to his devotees, and he is not at all satisfied with persons who are envious of his devotees, as the Lord himself confirms in the Bhagavad Gita 9.29. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dvesha asti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu cha priyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend in me, and I am also a friend to him. The Supreme Lord has no enemy or friend, but he is inclined towards a devotee who always engages in his devotional service. Similarly, elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, in 16.19, the Lord says, Tannaham dvishasta kruran samashatreshu naradhamam shipami ajrisam ashubhan ashrusva evayonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. The Lord is extremely antagonistic towards those who are envious of his devotees. To protect his devotees, the Lord sometimes has to kill their enemies. For example, to protect Prahlad Maharaj, the Lord had to kill his enemy Hiranyakashipu. Although Hiranyakashipu attained salvation because of being killed by the Lord, since the Lord is the witness of everyone's activities, he witnesses the actions of the enemies of his devotees, and he is inclined to punish them. In other cases, however, he simply witnesses what the living entity do and gives the results of one's sinful or pious actions. The translation one more time. For this living entity, no one is dear, nor anyone is unfavorable. He makes no distinction between that which is his own and that which belongs to anyone else. He is one without a second. In other words, he is not affected by friends and enemies, well-wishers or mischief mongers. He is only an observer, a witness of the different qualities of men. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guron Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Saitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Aradhya Bhagwan Vrajesh Tanayas Taddham Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Taya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavata Purana Malam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Mataidam Nayatraya Graha Paraha Navanirada Nindita Kanti Dharam Rashosagar Nagar Bhupavaram Shubhavankimacharu Shikhanda Shikhim Bhaja Krishna Nidhim Vrajaraja Sutam Bhaja Krishna Nidhim Vrajaraja Sutam Radhika Sarodayindu Nindimukha Mandali Vandiye Shripad Padma Vrishabhanu Nandini Vandiye Shripad Padma Vrishabhanu Nandini Vandiye Shripad Padma Vrishabhanu Nandini Ajanulambito Bhujo Kanakayavadhato Sankirtanai Pitaravo Kamalayataksho Vishwambharo Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagata Priyakaro Karuna Avataro Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pathagami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu me Yasya prasadat Bhagavat prasado Yasya aprasadan Nagati kutopi Dayanstuvam Yasya stri sandhyam Vande Guruho Shri Charanarvindam Vande Guruho Shri Charanarvindam Vande Guruho Shri Charanarvindam. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. My hundreds of obeisances unto all the assembled Vaishnavas. My thousands and thousands obeisances to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada and our Gaudiya Guru Varg. Whatever that I speak today, I beg that whatever emanates within my heart and comes to my mouth will be pleasing to the assembled Vaishnavas and to the Gaudiya Guru Varg. I'm extremely grateful to the administration of ISKCON NVCC for giving me this opportunity to serve Srimad Bhagavat and also the assembled Vaishnavas. I have no qualifications, but somehow or the other, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada's books are the basis. And I will try my best to speak as it is, which is the glory of our and the pride of our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So I seek your blessings as well. All the assembled senior Vaishnavas, Brahmacharis, and all of you who are present here. So, very briefly, because this ongoing prasanga of the pastime of King Chitraketu has been spoken of in the last several weeks, but perhaps some of the listeners online, as well as some Vaishnavas who may have just joined today, or maybe some of the other days for some reason, if they have missed it, then I'm going to just briefly speak on the events so far that have brought us to this particular shloka. So, in this Canto 6, some very important chapters are there that really teaches us so many wonderful tattva, so much bhakti in terms of glorification of the holy name. Ajamil's prasanga is in this canto, and then we find the prasanga of Vritta Maharaj, Vrittasur, and King Chitraketu. So, Parikshit Maharaj, after hearing the glories of Shripad Vrittasur Maharaj, he had a question. And his question was, how such a demon, such as Vrittasur, could become an exalted devotee? A very, very wonderful question. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of questions and answers. And perfect questions, perfect answers. Perfect disciple, perfect guru. So, from here we learn that whenever we ask some good questions, it not only benefits ourselves but also benefits the assembled Vaishnavas. Sukdev Goswami, Suta Goswami also appreciates the questions that were asked in the assembly in Naimisharanya, and he appreciates the questions and says that this is extremely beneficial to all of mankind. So similarly, Parikshit Maharaj has asked some amazing, wonderful questions in order for all of us to benefit. And this question about how such a demon as Vrittasur could become an exalted devotee is a very good point. And in this connection, Parikshit Maharaj is listening from his Gurudev, Sripad Sukdev Goswami, about the previous life of Vrittasur, as discussed in the previous chapters. And it involves the the story of King Chitraketu and how he was victimized by lamentation because of the death of his son. So we find there's so much tattva that is packed, and all shastras, the Vaishnava literatures, speak of the same wonderful philosophical points. Bhagavad Gita also speaks as such. Bhagavad Gita started with this philosophy, this tattva that Krishna explains, that dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptis dhiras tatra namuhyati. So since bhakti or devotional service is not ordinary, and we have to prepare ourselves on that platform by understanding the tattva through the proper sadhana bhakti, hearing from the right source. And Parikshit Maharaj was astonished that an asura could rise to this exalted position. Being doubtful, Parikshit Maharaj inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, who then described Vrittasurus with reference to his previous birth as King Chitraketu, the king of Surasen. So, Chitraketu Maharaj had no sons, and he got an opportunity to meet the great sage Angira. Angira Rishi came to his kingdom, and whenever a great sage comes, naturally the sages inquire about the well-being of the king and the subjects. And when asked, he kind of was morose, King Chitraketu, when he inquired about his welfare. The king expressed the moroseness, and he expressed that he did not have any progeny, no child. And generally speaking, it is the reason behind the king lamented is because back in those days, the Vansha or the lineage was very important, so that the kings or the Raj Rishis could retire at the perfect time and hand over the kingdom to their son, who would become the prince, who would become the next king. For their own enlightenment and self-realization, they would be completely detached from their duties at a point when the son would be ready. So this kind of lamentation is understandable. By the grace of the sage, Angira Rishi blessed him and his wife, Krityaduti, and gave birth to a son. So it is said that King Chitraketu had, I think, 1,000 wives. 1 crore. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. It's hard to believe, but Srimad Bhagavatam is full of transcendental information, and it requires faith that it is possible. So, soon, Krityaduti, his first wife, gave birth to a son. And he was the cause of both happiness and lamentation. He was known as Harsha Shoka. Harsha means happiness, and Shoka means distress or dukkha. So, upon the birth of the son, the king and all the residents of the palace were extremely happy. They were jubilant, all full of joy. And the co-wives of Krityaduti, however, were envious. So this happens because naturally the only child that was born to Krityaduti, that brought envy amongst them, because now the attention of the king naturally would go towards Krityaduti and the son. So Chitraketu they had actually conspired and poisoned the little boy. Now Chitraketu, upon hearing the news, was overwhelmed and in great shock at the son's death. And then Naradji and Angira Rishi at that time visited to see him. So this is amazing. We find in the history of Vedic culture and in the spiritual realm, Naradji plays a very, very important role, especially when he has to bestow his mercy to some devotees, special mercy. We find in the Srimad Bhagavatam that in the beginning, in the first canto, chapter number 5, 6, I believe, where he bestows mercy on Vyasadeva. So Naradji is not an ordinary personality. I always kind of mention this, that he is second in line as our Acharya in our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And he is such a great personality that he is the guru of great personalities like Valmiki, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, and here we also find that he is the guru. He initiates Chitraketu Maharaj. In India, in our childhood, we have seen that they used to show some devotional or pseudo-devotional movies where they would portray Naradji as a very funny character who is always inclined towards creating or causing problems and fights. So these are very low-minded people who think like that without knowing the glories of Naradji. Naradji is such a great personality that he has unrestricted entrance to any personality of Godhead, including the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Without permission, he can appear even in his most inner chambers. So, and a very good quality of Naradji, and perhaps we can say it's the same qualities that have imbibed in our acharyas, and that dhira dhira janapriya karo nirmat saro pujito. Right? We sing that in the Shada Goswami Astakam. Srinivas Acharya has so wonderfully compiled, where the qualities of the 6 Goswamis, and naturally it applies to all the great personalities. Why are they so welcome by even the dhiras and adhiras? Adhiras means the demoniac. Even personalities like Kansa, they respect Naradji. Naradji, please come. Whenever he appears in his palace, please come, have a seat. And he respects. And he hears. So that is a great quality of a Vaishnava. Why? Dhira adhira jana priya karo. Priya karo means they are favorable to everyone. Because nirmatsaro, they are completely bereft of envy. Not an iota of envy is found in them. They always they are well-wishers of all. Surut Sarva Bhutanam. Just like Krishna is, Krishna's great devotees have the same qualities. That they are Surud. They are the well-wishers. They are full of compassion. Sometimes we find that certain curses are given by Naradji or great devotees, or even his Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada used to get very upset sometimes and called people rascals, etc. But that was out of pure compassion. Just like a loving father or a grandfather would say, Are Gada Samjo, speak such words where try to, understand with emphasis. Certain words are used. So, that should not be taken in another light. Rather, it is the mercy. Even, for example, the sons of Kuver were cursed by Naradji. And they were born as trees. But where? In the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. Satyavrat Muni so nicely in the 7th verse of Damodar Ashtakam. What is that verse? The 7th verse. Kuver atma jao baddha murtava yadvat tvaya mochitau bhaktir bhajau kritau cha. Tatha prema bhaktim swakam me prayacha na mokshe griham damodareha. These two, although they were so offensive, so Naradji had to curse them, but a curse or a blessing from a great Vaishnava is non-different. And what kind of blessings did they receive? They received a place, Jiva Goswami explains in Gopal Champu, that after they were liberated, when the tree came down and Krishna pulled it with the ukkal, they two appeared and they circumambulated Krishna and they went to Golok Vrindavan. They did not go back to the heavenly planets. And there they achieved the spiritual bodies of a Golokvasi, Madhukant and Snigdhakantha. Jiva Goswami describes that in the Gopal Champu. And every day, these two, their seva is, every morning, early in the morning, they would go to Nanda Maharaj's home and in the palace and sing the glories and pastimes of Krishna. Just like Love Kush, they would have their Tanpura and they would go around singing the glories of Naradji, always with his veena. He's singing the glories. So that was their seva. Madhukant means sweet voice, sweet throat. And Snigdhakantha means very soft kantha or voice. So their seva was to sing Snigdhakantha and Madhukantha. And Nanda Maharaj and all his brothers and all the different Golokvasis would gather and they would listen to the pastimes of Krishna. And in the evening also they did the same thing. That was they gathered. And that's so amazing. That was a blessing. So like this we find that the blessing was bestowed on King Chitraketu and that dead boy was awakened by Naradji's blessings, so that a lesson of self-realization could be taught to King Chitraketu and through him to all of us. The boy was able to talk and King Chitraketu was able to listen to the dead son and hear from him the truth of life, the tattva. So Bhagavad Gita is full of that tattva. I need not really elaborate on time due to the restriction of time, that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul, and one should not lament over the dead or the living. One who is dhiras tatra na muhyati. So one who is sober, one who has got self-realization, then we will not lament on whether one is dead or alive. Because we all know that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul, but unfortunately we do not have the realization. So first comes knowledge. We have knowledge. We hear from sadhus different tattvas or philosophy, and that explains that we are not this body, we are this spirit soul. Jivir Swarup Hoy Krishnir Nityadas. We are the eternal servants of Sri Krishna. So all this information is there. But that information at some point has to transcend into understanding and further transcend into realization. Unless and until that realization doesn't dawn upon us, then we will not be able to see the Paramatma in everybody's heart, and we will not be able to become Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma, where na sochati na kankshati, where we will not lament on anything or we will not hanker after anything. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu, we will look upon everybody equally. So when will that day come? Sometimes some of us, we have been in this glorious movement of His Divine Grace for many, many years. Some for 50 decades, 40 decades, 30 decades, 5 decades, 4 decades, 3 decades, 2 decades, 1 decade, a few years. But that realization will only come when we are very sincere within our heart and we hanker that. Even our sadhana can only help us to a certain point. Without kripa, we cannot actually get this realization or this anubhuti. So, after pacifying and after hearing so much from the dead boy itself, and it is said, I think Prabhuji yesterday itself mentioned that this was Naradji speaking through the boy. The Acharyas mentioned that. And again, that is out of compassion. Tirelessly, Naradji travels all over the universe. And similarly, Parivachakacharya, Srila Prabhupada, our founder ISKCON of our glorious movement, also went all over the world tirelessly, even at that advanced age. How many times he went around the globe? 12 or 13? 14 times. 14 times around the globe, sometimes staying 1 day, 2 days. Jet lag, he didn't even know what jet lag was, because he was so much absorbed in his seva. So, this is something that we can all, capture within our hearts, the life and events of the great Vaishnavas. Many a time, I encourage myself and also the others, please read Srila Prabhupada's Lila Amrit. We may read other books, that's great, but Lila Amrit is very important. That is so encouraging. And it will give us a firm faith that all this just recently happened, since 1965 through 1977. All those events that were there, the Leela of Srila Prabhupada, is very, very encouraging. So after hearing from his son, and after hearing from Angira Rishi and Naradji, he was pacified and he found shelter, because he got initiated by Naradji in a mantra that would immediately, after 7 days, give him the result. That's amazing. In 7 days, he found the lotus feet of Lord Shankarshan. So much powerful. Now, it is just not that a powerful devotee it is just not a powerful devotee giving a mantra, but also the reciprocation has to be there by the disciple, of how sincerely we take the Guru's instructions and the Diksha that we receive. Unless both are there. I sometimes like to give this example of a mobile phone. One may buy the latest version of iPhone or the Samsung phone, just to give you an example, the most expensive one. And it has got all the greatest technology in it. And supposing if we are in a basement or in a place where there are so many walls, then what can the latest version of a phone do? We cannot even make an outgoing call, or we cannot even receive a call or any messages, because the signal is weak, right? But the receiver is perfect. Similarly, if we are outside in the open, and if we are trying to use the most advanced technology phone, but if the tower itself has some issues, the transmitter, then also we will not be able to receive the signal. So similarly, perfect Guru, perfect disciple. Perfect Guru is the tower. And the perfect disciple is one who has got that full technology to receive that mercy. Then it will have immediate and very, very quick effect in our lives. And that will make our lives very sublime. So, it is said that he got initiated by Naradji. And in today's verse, again, it is basically simply the tattva, very, very fundamental information that is given. There is no one dear to the living entity. Now, here we are talking about a realized soul, the Satchitananda. In this particular verse, we have to make note that it applies to the Brahma Bhuta, one who is fully realized, completely who understands. So for that, what are the symptoms of that jiva? The symptoms are that no one is dear to that person and no one is unfavorable. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. So when one is on that platform, Krishna says, Mad bhakti labhate param. Also, in this verse it is described, he makes no distinction between his own and that or of the other. So, what does that mean? That doesn't mean that and again, I repeat this, that this is the realized soul. Otherwise, we will think there is no distinction between your assets and my assets. Let me go enter your house and take anything. जो आपका है वो मेरा है. ऐसा नहीं है. It's not like that. That's only for realized souls, because they know Isavasham idam sarvam yat kinchana jagatyam jagat. Everything belongs to Sri Krishna. That is the concept. So that is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur also is teaching through his bhajans and Sharanagati and Gitavali and so many. Narottam Das Thakur through Prarthana, Prema Bhakti Chandrika. So many wonderful instructions are there through the bhajans that everything belongs to you, O Krishna. Manasa deha geha jo kichumor arpilu tuapade nanda kishore. What an amazing, just that first line in the fifth section of Sharanagati, Bhakti Anukul, in the Atmanivedan section of Sharanagati, he very clearly says that everything belongs to you. Even being a Grihastha. So this is a perfect example for all the Grihasthas as well. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a Grihastha. I think he had 10 children, correct? And of course we know that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was the most ideal son, where Bhaktivinoda Thakurji had prayed to Bimla Devi in Jagannath Puri so that he could preach Vaishnavism. He needed an assistant who would fulfill his desire. So that was, even being a Grihastha, and perfectly he used to perform his worldly duties. He was a magistrate. I think I heard that he heard about 50 cases a day. And he was so perfect that even we have to remember he was during the British time. And in order to become a magistrate, it's not so easy to get a big post like that for an Indian body person in the British Raj. And he had qualified himself, and the British Raj kind of used him. We have heard that wherever there was troublemakers, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was sent there in those regions. And there he would have to deal with all these different cases, 50 cases a day. And his judgment was so perfect, his worldly duties, that even some of the British judges were trying to find fault out of envy, where there must be some mistake in his nyay or judgment, and they could not find a single one. And he has such beautiful time management, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. If one wants to, as a devotee, wants to learn time management, we have to see how Bhaktivinoda Thakurji was so perfect in his time management, worldly duties, and after coming home, he would rest about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then start writing books. And he would do the same thing after taking prasadam in the evening, and then he would still at night, translate different books through and give it in a very simple way through his bhajans. So that is the life of such great devotees. And also the realized soul, in this particular verse, it says that he's one without a second. So in other words, he's not affected by friends and enemies. And one without a second also means Advaita. Dvait means two, and Advaita means no, or Dvait means, we can also say more than one in one sense, and Advait means very unique. So such souls are very unique, right? So that's also mentioned in this particular, we find in the translation and purport of his divine grace. So he's not affected by friends and enemies. We find this teaching also in Prahlad Maharaj's, we find that in the 7th canto, chapter 9, I believe that's the prasanga where Prahlad Maharaj is speaking to Lord Nrsingadev, and I think following that is chapter 10 with his prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, Lord Nrsingadev. So there is a wonderful slok that kind of applies same way, because the pure devotee has the same qualities of Krishna. Sakshat haritena samasta shastra uktas tatha bhav yata eva sadvi kintu prabhoya priya eva tasya vande guruho shri charanarvindam. So we all have the qualities, the pure soul has the qualities of Krishna, but in a very, very anumatra, in a very, very small atomic way. And the explanation is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Right? That it is very, very inconceivable how simultaneously we are one with the Lord and at the same time we are separate from the Lord. Just like the sun, globe and the sun rays. They are one. But at the same time, the sun rays are different in strength because they are very minute in the energy of the sun. And similarly, we are a small spark of Krishna. Mamai Ansha, Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta, Sanatan. Krishna says that the Jivas are my part and parcels. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Naishya Paravar Matira Bhavato Nanusyaja Jantor Yathatma Surdo Jagatas Tathapi Sammeshvaya Surataror Iva Te Prasadaha Sevano Rupam Udayo Napara Avaratvam. So it basically has got the same points where he is eulogizing Lord Nrsingadev, that my dear Lord Nrsingadev, unlike ordinary living entities, my Lord, you do not discriminate between the friends and enemies, and the favorable and the unfavorable. So similarly, the pure soul who is realized will never do that. As an example, in the life or the Leela of Srila Prabhupada had this wonderful habit of morning walks, no matter where he was, whether it was in San Francisco, whether it was in New York, whether it was in Mayapur, whether he was in Bombay. So in Bombay, whenever he went, he had one, I would say, a good friend or a well-wisher. He was a well-wisher of Dr. Bhogilal Patel. And he was a very, very good scholar, Dr. Patel. He was well-versed with our Vedic scriptures. He was well-versed with even other faiths. And he would actually have discussions with Srila Prabhupada during the morning walk. And many, many of Prabhupada's disciples would follow. And they would always ensue a transcendental discussion that would emanate from Srila Prabhupada's mouth, so that we could all learn something, so that his disciples could learn something. So at one point, Dr. Bhogilal Patel mentioned that Swamiji, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that Pandita Samadarshina, a great soul or a learned person, looks upon everybody equally. Then Swamiji, why do you call this scientist rascal? Why do you do that? So, what an amazing question. And can you imagine what Srila Prabhupada said? See, Prabhupada was very witty. And because he is like, Srila Prabhupada is Krishna's very dear. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtha. Presthaya Bhutale. So we should always remember that our acharyas are very dear to Krishna. And Krishna is always, Tumhara Hriday Sada Govinda Vishram. Narottam Das Thakur says in that bhajan, Ei bar karuna karo Vaishno Gosai. So it is not that Govinda is not in our hearts. He is there. So somebody may ask that question. But there, Narottam Das Thakur is very, very sincerely, and he is clarifying, Tumhara Hriday Sada Govinda Vishram. That Vishram Shabda, or that word, is very important. It is not necessary Paramatma in our heart is at Vishram. He is there out of duty. He is there, just like, if I can give another example, parents, they may not be very happy with the behavior of a child. In spite of that, out of duty, they will give them their necessities, like food, clothing, etc. Not necessarily that they are happy. Right? So similarly, Paramatma in our hearts, I'm talking about in my heart, is not very happy because of, not being realized, and so many of us perhaps will agree with this. But in the pure devotee's heart, he is at Vishram. He is full of joy. He's not there out of duty, but he loves to be there. There's a big difference. There's something that is done out of duty and something that is done out of pure love. So it is not just that the devotees love Krishna. Krishna also loves devotees. Tumhara hriday sada Govinda Vishram. So these are some of the things that we really need to take home. Some of the best techniques by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, Guruho and Gauranga. I always like to use the word Guruho, just not Guru. Because our movement has got so many glorious Gurus. And our Acharyas are. That is why in the Mangal Arti, we use the word Guruho. Vande Guruho Sri Charan Arvindam. It is not Vande Guru Sri Charan Arvindam. Some of them mispronounce. Vishwanath Chakravarti is offering his obeisances onto all the Acharyas. Onto all of them. So we have to have that attitude as well. Because if we do some kind of a pakshpat, my guru, my god brother, my god sister, we are building a little camp where it is limited. And actually, I like to give this example of sahakutum. All understand this word? Sahakutum meaning joint family. In our back in my childhood, we have seen that big families have got many uncles living in the same house, grandmother, grandfather, many aunts, many cousins, right? So when a child is born in that family and is growing up, can you imagine how much love they get from everyone in that family, from all the uncles? Similarly, we have so many uncles in our ISKCON movement. And we are most fortunate if we receive them as Siksha Gurus. Otherwise, nowadays we find that a girl wants to marry a boy in this so-called modern society. The first thing they ask that, do you have a own place to stay? I will not stay with your parents, or I will not stay with your family. They sometimes even use these words. I was shocked. One person came to my house a couple years ago, and he recently was engaged. So he was telling me about his experience, about when he was seeing the different possible matches. So some of the girls asked him this question, okay, how much garbage do you have? I'm like, what does that mean? He says, nowadays, the girls are using such words. Garbage means, do you have a big family? Like, do you have brothers? You have a father, mother, grandfather, grandmother? This is the degradation of our society. I could not even understand. I had to ask him twice. Is that true? Is this the kind of language they use? So, then they get married and they stay and they have a child. They stay separately. So now this child doesn't get much love except from the father and mother. But that child is so fortunate if one has access to the love of so many other family members. So our glorious ISKCON movement has got so many glorious family members. So those who shut themselves away from the other family members, they are actually unfortunate. They have not understood the value of love. And obviously the meaning of Vande Guruho Sri Charanarvindam. Because they sing also Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. So then they are thinking it's only their spiritual master. So these are some of the points that we have to take home. We even say Vandeham Shri Guruho. It is plural. It's just not Vandeham Shri Guru. Right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. So that is the important point that I'm trying to bring home. That there is no distinction for a pure devotee. And for the enemy or for them, they look upon equally. That is why Srila Prabhupada answered Dr. Bhogilal Patel, our version of Pandit Samadarshina means, and he took his cane, his walking stick, and he pointed it to all his Western disciples who are mostly following him in those days in the morning walks. And the majority we are talking about the early 70s. The Indians mostly joined later on, the Sankhya. But mostly they were all Western disciples. So he pointed his cane towards his walking stick and says, our version of Pandita Samadarshina is that we give Krishna consciousness equally to everyone. We don't distinguish. According to the rules of the Vedas and according to the certain stringent rules, one sannyasi is not even supposed to cross over the ocean. And he should just either stay in Bharatvarsh, in Bharat, or take Kutichak sannyas. Stay in one place and preach there. But Prabhupada's instruction by his Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Maharaj was that speak this Gauravani, this message of Bhagavat Vani to the English speaking world. You are very educated. In the very first meeting, this order was given to him, His Divine Grace Prabhupada. So when we are preaching the glories of Krishna, Guru and Guroho and Gauranga, then we don't have to really follow those stringent rules of the Vedas because they are beyond that. They are beyond. But of course, we have to make sure that we come to that level. Then we can. Otherwise, we are not here or there. And he mentions in this verse, this verse mentions that just like a desire tree, a kalpataru, it delivers the fruits according to one's desires. So, the Supreme Lord he offers benedictions according to the level of one's service. So it is not that there is pakshapat by the Lord, that He is favoring somebody and He is not favoring somebody. Somebody may say that He is always favoring the Devi Devtas, the demigods. He is favoring the devotees. What about us? So, through that the answer is given here by Prahlad Maharaj, that you give benedictions according to one's level of service. What is that verse in the Bhagavad Gita that kind of corresponds? Ye yathamam prapadyante tamsa tathaiva bhajami aham. So that is a wonderful, amazing verse. That has got a very good rasic connotation as well, just besides the standard meaning. Just like the gopis of Vrindavan. How does Krishna reciprocate with them? At all levels, right from the neophyte who has just joined or taken to Krishna consciousness, and as we progress or we mature in our Krishna consciousness, Krishna reciprocates. The moment that desire arises to advance, then Krishna makes the arrangement to meet advanced devotees. We get advanced association. And as we do our sadhana perfectly, then we advanced into Raganuga Bhakti. When we advance into Raganuga Bhakti, at that time, we are directly in charge of the acharyas who are completely expert in Raganuga Bhakti, in Rajbhav. So at that time, Krishna reciprocates by giving us such followers. Like Raghunath Das Goswami says in the Manasiksha, that one should, follow one great personality and take instruction from him when you are in Raganuga Bhakti, in Vrajbhav, so that your bhava will be concentrated in that seva, in that particular leela of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Sri Vrindavan Dham. So all this is possible for each one of us if we are very sincere in our sadhana and we enter Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti, we sing this every day. Another meaning of this, a little bit, we can say an expounded meaning of the line, Chakshudana dilo jai, janme janme prabhu shai, divya gyan, hriday prakashita. Our spiritual master may not be present. He may have entered the Nitya Lila, the eternal pastimes of the Lord. Or the Lord Himself within our heart will give us that chakshu, will give us the Ekadash Bhav, that Ado Shraddha, Tatha Sadho Sang, after that comes Bhajan Kriya, then Anartha Nivritti, then comes Nishtha, then Ruchi, Asakti, and then a Bhav, and then Krishna Prem. So first is, we have some faith, we come to the temple, and then we meet Vaishnavas, sadhus, these wonderful sadhus here. As I see here in Pune, NVCC, so much preaching and so much love is here in the devotees. So anybody is coming here, they actually shower love. And they give Krishna consciousness very nicely with love. And I see the difference between other centers of ISKCON and Pune. And we find that this temple is the ideal exemplary temple that even all over the world, His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu is called, who is the president of this temple, and to help in developing the congregation in such a way, such as the Pune congregation, the NVCC congregation. So the point here is that whenever we are preaching nicely, we will always find people coming and they will accept Krishna consciousness. So when Adho Shraddha is there, then it develops into Sadhu Sangh. From Sadhu Sangh, the Devotees Association, Bhajana Kriya. They will tell us, are you eating any meat? Are you taking any intoxicants, etc.? So they say, yes, we are. So please try to leave them. Don't do that. Are you drinking tea, coffee? Leave tea and coffee if you want to advance in your spiritual life. These are the newcomers when they come. So that is Sadhu Sangh. Sadhu Sangh is Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya later on develops into a deeper understanding of the philosophy and taking a bona fide spiritual master. And when that happens, then Anartha Nivritti happens. All that is dirty in our hearts, that Cheto Darpana Marjanam happens, that we have accumulated for many, many lifetimes, that is all part of Bhajana Kriya. And then Anartha Nivritti, then all the anarthas are eradicated, they are completely removed. Then actually the taste of real bhakti starts with Nishtha. We are so fixed. Ruchi, there is natural taste in Krishna consciousness. Nobody has to tell us, do this, do that. It is so natural. Asakti. Everybody has asakti. Everybody has got attachment. Material attachment. Devotees have attachment to their jobs, to their family life, and also to Krishna. But then this attachment is purely for Krishna at that stage. Purely for Guru and Gauranga. That asakti. It's completely on a transcendental level. And then that will bring us to the bhav level. And in that bhav level, Chakshudana Dilojai, Janme Janme Prabhu Shai, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito, our acharyas like Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, Sanatana Goswami Prabhupada, all the entire parampara will give us that Chakshudan, so that we will be able to advance even in Raganuga Bhakti, and we will know our Ekadash Bhav, who we are in our spiritual world, what is our seva, which youth we belong to, which group we belong to, what is our dress, where is our nivas, where are we residing, etc. So like this, those are revealed to us. And here while we are chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we contemplate on our seva, eternal seva in Vrindavan, in Golok Vrindavan. Like Narottam Das Thakur's seva we have heard, he is Champak Lata Manjari, and his seva is to heat up milk, make milk for Radha Krishna. So even while chanting, he's contemplating on his seva, and the milk was just overflowing. This is just while he was performing his seva here, sitting and chanting, and he tried to remove the pot with his bare hands because it was overflowing and it needed immediate attention. And he used his bare hands and removed the pot, and his fingers got burnt. So when the other senior Vaishnavas or the other Vaishnavas, advanced Vaishnavas saw that, they said, "What happened to you, Mahashai?" "Oh, this is what happened." So even when he is concentrating in his seva in this body here on this earthly planet, we can find. So this is possible. And this is where we need to be at some point. So that is the reason, exactly as a desire tree delivers fruits according to one's desires, similarly, one pure devotee doesn't make any distinction between the lower and the higher. And just like another good example before I end up here is the teacher. One may give this example about Krishna as being partial to someone. So another example would be a teacher. Supposing if there is an exam paper which is 100 marks, and each question is one mark each. So if somebody answers all 100 correctly, he gets 100 marks. Somebody answers 90 correctly, he gets 90 marks. And somebody answers 10 correctly, he has obviously failed and he's got only 10 marks. So now the student who has got only 10 marks is going to complain that, oh, there is some partiality to the person who got 90 marks or 100 marks. No. So similarly, Krishna is reciprocating. The Prahlad Maharaj says that according to one's level of one's service. So like this, we find that Prabhupada mentions in the purport as well, that I envy no one, and nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend in me, and I am also a friend in him. So, like this, that is the main summum bonum of this verse. The one more point that I would like to quickly make here before I end is Naradji initiated King Chitraketu into the word that is used is the mantra called the Mahavidya. Okay. Now, and by that he got the darshan after 7 days of Lord Shankarshan, the personality, the expansion of Krishna. Now, for us, how fortunate are we? Can we just contemplate on this a little bit? We have also got Mahavidya through the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. I know everybody is hungry. The stomachs are churning. But let us get some enthusiasm in chanting the Mahamantra one more time, please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. We have got this highest Mahavidya that has been given by our spiritual masters. And especially when we receive this Mahamantra in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, it has got amazing, it is a bottomless ocean. Even in this world we find that the ocean has got some depths. I have heard that 40,000 feet or somewhere around that range is the deepest part of the ocean. The ocean that we have. But this holy name Mahamantra, especially when it comes to the meanings, which obviously I don't have time to go through, with whatever little knowledge I have, as given by the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Rupanuga Varga, it is a bottomless ocean. It's just so amazing that it gives us that this is called Mahavidya, the mantra that was given by Naradji to King Chitraketu. Ours is also Mahavidya. How is it? So this Hare Krishna Mahamantra that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking, we find in the very first verse of the Chaitanya Sistastakam. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhav Mahadava Agni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidya Vadu Jivanam. What is that Vidya Vadu Jivanam? Vidya, that transcendental knowledge that the Rasikacharyas have explained. Vadu Jivanam. Vadu means the gopis of Vrindavan. We say, no, Aradhya Bhagwan Vrajesha Tanes Taddam Vrindavan Ramya Kachi Dupasna Vraja Vadu Vargena Taya Kalpita. Following in the footsteps. If you have to do any Aradhana, follow in the footsteps of the Vraj gopis in Madhurya Rasa. So, here this Vidya Vadu Jivanam means we will, by the mercy of Ananga Manjari or Lord Nityananda, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, the commentaries that have been given by our Rasika Acharyas, is none other than Lord Nityananda in the form of Ananga Manjari. Because we are talking about the Brahma Madhogaudiya Sampradaya, our Chaitanya followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then when we are completely eradicated all our misgivings, all our anarthas in this samsar, at that time, when our hearts are so cleansed that the moon rays of Lord Nityananda or Ananga Manjari will, from Golok Vrindavan, become so transparent through our acharyas, through all the 32nd in line of Srila Prabhupada in our case, it will enter our hearts with full transparency, and then we will radiate their mercy in the form of preaching to all. And we will receive that Vidya through this Mahamantra. That, and Vidya Vadu Jivanam means that the Gopi Bhav or the Manjari Bhav. And that is what is the meaning, actually deeper meaning, one of the deeper meanings of Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. From Adham we become Uttam. And by the mercy that is bestowed through the Mahamantra, chanting of the Mahamantra, it is revealed to us. So that is, and there are many other meanings. So that is Mahavidya. And so we are so fortunate. Sometimes we take it very lightly. We just chant, but our chanting must be good. Prabhupada said, how many rounds minimum we should chant? Loudly? Wrong. Minimum 16 good rounds. Thank you, Prabhuji. It's minimum 16 good rounds. That is the criteria. And when we chant minimum 16 good rounds, everything will be revealed to us. As we read Prabhupada's books, we may repeat the same verses, the same purports, but then things are revealed more and more. The same verse, the same chapter, the same things are revealed as per our maturity. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sa tathaiva bhajamiham. This happens. So we are very fortunate that we have got this Mahamantra. Jai Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Nitai Gaur Sundar Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Devi ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada ji ki Jai. So, thank you all very much. Sorry I have gone a little bit over time. I apologize. But I thought that I would share these things that were there in my heart as well, so that, everybody can benefit, and myself as well. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that when you're preaching minimum to two persons. First to yourself and then to others. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.